Good.
Yeah.
Well, hello, and thank you for joining Fix Facebook Live. I really do appreciate you taking the time from your practice or from your evening or even from your breakfast. As we are an international organization, we seem to bother people at any time of the day. So thanks for being with us. Facebook Live has been great in helping our members and our friends to learn a little bit more about Fix, but more importantly, about certain techniques and certain products and certain services, so we can kind of help you. And when I became Secretary General, and again, I should have introduced myself. My name is Keith Overland. I'm Secretary General currently for Fix. And when I became Secretary General, one of the things that I thought was really important was to try to develop a toolbox for sports chiropractors. The opportunity to have a sports chiropractor look at different products and services that they could utilize not only in their office, but for helping them at events and fields. And so we have been doing that. We have some wonderful sponsors. Please take a look at our sponsor page. And they're all here to help you serve your patients, in a maybe more high-tech or easier or more effective or evidence-based fashion. And actually, that's why we've hooked up Dr. Camara tonight, and I'll introduce him in a moment, but to talk about a company called ChiroUp. ChiroUp, I've actually been using it for about 5 years in my practice in Connecticut in the US. And they've been in business since about 2015. Dr. Tim Bertelsmann, Dr. Brendan Steele, some of you may have heard them lecture. They're fairly well-known lecturers in the chiropractic world, and they've done some work even for Fix at our symposium. Their mission is to actually unite and elevate evidence-based chiropractic. And with that, what they've done is they've simplified for chiropractors the way they can educate patients, they can develop, they can understand the outcomes, clinical outcomes from different procedures. They have about protocols for about 100 conditions the last I looked. Their platform is currently very easy to use and actually being used by over 2,000 chiropractors. As like I said, what I do in my office, and we'll talk about Dr. Camara's as well, is I am so low tech, but they make it easy. I give video exercises to my patients. I look up conditions, I look up different protocols, I put them together, and we print them out, and we help them learn to do home care or office care through video and through scanning and such. So with that, I really think it's important for you to learn a little bit tonight from Dr. Martin Camara. I've met Martin about a year ago, becoming involved with Fix. We have not yet met live. I look forward to that, Martin. We have not met each other, but every time I learn about him or meet him, ask him to get engaged, he is right there, and he is someone that I look at as a mentor in the sports chiropractic, actually the chiropractic world. Dr. Camara is obviously a chiropractic specialist. He's a director of clinics. He's the chief executive officer for Intercare Chiropractic Center. He is a member and has been a member of a multitude of national and international chiropractic and other sports organizations. Most recently, he was chosen as a development group member of the World Health Organization for lower back pain as part of their Rehabilitation 2030 initiative. On top of that, he's a member of the Department of Health and National Certification Committee for Chiropractic at the Philippine Institute of Traditional and Alternative Health, at which he actually is a presidential appointee to their board of trustees. Furthermore, he works as a chiropractic specialist for the National Golf Association for the Philippines, the Philippine Jiu-Jitsu Federation, and medical director for the Philippine Sports Association Incorporated. From 2007, I believe, to 2018, he served as the co-chair for the Philippine Olympic Committee, traveling extensively around the world at major international games. His clinical experience has been recognized by Palmer West. It's been recognized by Fix. He's been an integral member on our executive committee at Fix. And I don't know, I can go on. I don't want to swell his head any more than it is, but just know that you are speaking with a true expert in the field. And So Martin, thanks for being here. And I'd love you to just talk about, your experience, of course, a little bit with Fix, but how did you even learn about ChiroUp 8,000 miles
Yeah.
away from where they're from?
Brian, thanks a lot, Keith. Appreciate the introduction and everything. Hello to everybody who's joining us. First of all, I wanted to say that global symposium that Fix put together was just awesome. I mean, the platform, the way it was done, I had my doubts about a virtual symposium. I like getting dirty, seeing people face to face, shaking hands. But if it had to be done virtually, Fix pulled it off really incredibly. Amazing lineup of speakers, and I could access it for a prolonged period of time at my convenience. I did get to see Tim and Brandon live. They had a presentation, and I was very impressed. It was obvious they were presenting from a very knowledgeable point of view. They were clinicians, they were aware of the evidence, but they were also excellent marketers and communicators. So they were able to summarize key concepts in like a minute. So they went from plantar fasciitis to low back pain to headaches to neck pain to vertigo, and they were just bada beep, bada boop. One of the most entertaining symposium events I've seen. They were like two people, one guy says this, another guy says this. So I said, these guys are good. So based on that, I downloaded the whatever it was, like the infographics initially, and then from there I downloaded the free version of the app, and it just wowed me. So let me give you some history. At this point,
Please.
I had spent thousands of dollars and wasted a lot of time on developing my own app for our group practice. Okay. And it was getting increasingly more frustrating. We were at the beta stage. All sorts of bugs were coming out. It was clunky. It was difficult to work with. It took too much time. Like I couldn't see myself using it in practice. And the developers that I hired didn't seem to be able to address the problem in a timely way. So when I heard of ChiroUp and tried it and started using it, I was like, whoa, this is what I was looking for, right? It simplified it, as you said. I'm a little bit technological, but it was they've made it so simple. It's like using an Apple or an iPhone. Once you start using that thing, it's just intuitive. So I was able to incorporate it in many aspects of our practice. So do you have any like specifics, Kate, you'd like me to talk about?
It's interesting what I've learned, and it's funny you talk about the symposium. I've not talked to Tim and Brandon since, but they were like frick and frack, going back and forth. They were bouncing off each other. So the fact that you recognize that as well was actually it shows their comfort level. So tell me, Martin, again, you're more tech savvy than I am, but what I have found is that the exercise protocols are excellent, but there's so much more on their site that they've used, different forms and different outcome measures. Tell me about some of those as well, that if any, that you've picked up on that you found helpful in your practice.
Well, one is it's an excellent communication module, right? So what happens is as a patient comes in, you're able to assign a diagnosis on different regions, and you have many to choose from. And if your particular preferred diagnosis as a clinician isn't there, you have the ability to add it on. So it makes it very seamless. If you're not happy with how the program describes the condition, you have the ability to customize and write your own description, because there are different styles of practice. So if I was completely evidence-based, if I was leaning towards a particular technique or not, I could incorporate that into my practice, right? So it also allows me to develop the program. If I want to see somebody 3 times a week for 2-3 weeks, or if I want to see them once a week for 6 or 9 weeks, it allows me to make those recommendations, right? Now, once this is sent to the patient, and I love the fact that you can include a disability index. You have the OSWIS-3 disability index, the neck, and that allows you to objectify something which is very subjective, pain, and gives you an outcome measure that you can compare to at a later date when you're doing your reevaluations. The program automatically then sends the patient information about how to sleep, what exercises to do at home, and I love that, you know, that it's really customized. And then from there, 30 days later, it automatically sends them a survey, and it asks 4 very simple questions. Are you happy with your treatment? How many treatments did you have? How likely are you to refer? And you know, just basic questions that everybody would like to know about their practice. And then it puts it together and gives me some stats on how I'm doing as a practitioner. So I think it put it together really quite nicely as a communication module to patients.
And you're right. I've actually, when we give the information to the patients, we're logging in their email address, we're logging in some contact information. And what is really interesting is how the program does communicate with them and gives feedback to me as a provider. And that's neat. That's really helpful. You know, just a question for you, you know, because I know I've done this. So many people look at, you know, these kinds of programs for core and for spine and everything. I've been impressed with the vast evidence and knowledge that they put with sports injuries and extremity injuries and muscular injuries. Have you been able to kind of take, you know, since we're talking about fix, you know, I think that's interesting to our membership. I find that it's not just spine, that there really is, you know, opportunities to take information, and again, evidence-based exercises versus you just remembering something from, you know, from a post or something I read. Have you been able to integrate the sports piece of it in your practice as well?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So what happens is this, no? So you can get on your dashboard, like any like dashboard, and it informs me, hey, this patient filled out a survey form, and I can read the survey and see what they think about the practice, how happy they are. The other thing is there's a research portal that summarizes new findings and things like that. Now, I like detail, so I'm the kind of guy who actually doesn't like somebody summarizing it for me. So I actually read the actual studies. And so far, I'm actually quite happy with the studies that they've curated. So they had one on ankle sprains. My daughter just hopped in from a skateboard accident, 19-year-old daughter with an ankle sprain, and you know, so it's very relevant. They have stuff on how to differentiate shoulder from cervical radiculopathy. Very simple, you know. And I like the fact that if you do need to communicate with other healthcare providers, you can reference. The links are there. It's very transparent. So let me tell you a little bit about my practice, Keith. I have an orthopedic doctor. We have medical doctors. We're majority chiropractors. And then we have physical therapists, massage therapists, acupuncturists. So it's a group practice. We have 5 different locations around the Philippines. And what's key here is, so I signed up a ChiroUp plan for each clinic because it's dependent on location. But it allows me to identify which doctor is working with which patient so that when they get the report, it's coming from that doctor himself. And I think that's really great. I personally, because I direct the clinics, have to go to multiple locations. And when I get to one location, I can actually get on the cloud. Let's say a patient comes from one clinic to another clinic to see me. I can access them by entering the account from ChiroUp or the other. So it's kind of really portable and mobile. If I'm sitting in my apartment and a patient reaches out and says, hey, this happened to me, I can actually send them a preliminary report and stuff that they can do at home before they see me in the clinic. So I think that option of it is really cool. If I wanted to see a patient, I could log it on my cell phone right now and take a quick look and see, okay, when was the last, So I think it's a wonderful tool. And
you touched on a part that, again, you know, I've been a member of them for quite some time, and I've seen it evolve. And one of the really interesting things, and I don't know if you've used this yet, but you did touch on it, is they're consistently providing educational pieces on new testing, new exercises. So you mentioned like the shoulder versus cervical radiculopathies. They were saying, here's the latest and the greatest, tests that have come through. And so it's not just, again, not that I use it primarily for exercise prescription, but it's not just that. I also find their blogs and their weekly updates. And then if you go online, you really can learn about the different tests. Look, I've been out of school since 1981. I can't even count that far, and testing has changed. The patients are the same, but the testing has changed, and they're on top of that, and that's really been helpful for me because I didn't. You don't know what you don't know, and so I didn't even know that some of the testing, has morphed as much as it has in certain conditions. So by keeping this, up to date, it's really helpful for me clinically as well. And to your point, the evidence is presented to back up. So, I don't want us to sound like we're on the payroll for ChiroUp, because that's not the point of this. But as I said earlier, and it sounds like you're using it, Martin, that way, is sports chiropractors have always been, in my mind, the cutting edge, the tip of the spear for our profession. We have always pushed that envelope. We've been developing those relationships with Olympic committees. Hey, look, I know I thanked you, but I'm going to thank you again. For those who attended the symposium, Martin brought to us a member of the International Olympic Committee board to speak to us. She's his patient, a chiropractic patient. I'm not breaking any privacy rules because she told us that. But I mean, that's, by the way, the level of provider that Dr. Camara is, but also this is telling us, this is about sports chiropractic. This is about having our membership have access to the best information possible. So, ChiroUp is, in my opinion, is one of those organizations, those services. What I also want to tell, I have another question for you is, because they're a sponsor of our organization, we've developed a relationship with them, and they have put together some discount codes for our docs. So I hope you got to use that, by the way.
Of course.
So you got discount codes. The monthly plan that you said you're on, there's discounts for that. But what's also kind of fun is they have a 2-week free, trial thing. So if someone goes to their website, ChiroUp.com, you don't have to join immediately. You check it out for a couple of weeks. And then you use the fixed referral code, and you kind of get to see if this is something that you need for your toolbox. So another quick question for you, though. When you use it in multiple offices like you are, and you work with a lot of other providers, one of the neat things I saw was actually some sample notes to refer to other providers and to inform them and educate. How do you use that? Do you use those? I should ask, because those are really interesting to me.
Yeah, those actually are really interesting. So there are notes where you can, if it's referred by an outside doctor, that you can put in a healthcare provider, and they'll get a nice medical report with a copy of the report that you sent the patient. So everybody's on the same page. I've actually evolved the system already. On the messages section of the report, I actually put in my daily soap notes, so that if that patient comes in and I'm covering for another doctor, or she sees another doctor, that doctor knows exactly what I did and what I saw. I even put the X-ray findings, the MRI findings in there. So I use it as a way to be on top of what's being done for that patient and what's been done by the other doctors, especially when you're in a group setting. And the other is I use it just for communication. Now, let me also talk about the communication thing, because I signed up one of the accounts, and it even populates my Facebook intercare thing, with nice infographics. I think that's wonderful. Like I don't have to touch it. So what I wanted to say is, for a good sports chiropractor who wants to focus on creating a relationship with the patient in front of them and that athlete in front of them, to be able to use his attention and energy, to really figure out what's going on and help that patient, and not have to worry about the other stuff, I think the app does a good job of picking that up, especially when it's able to recommend structured exercise programs, which are really key in getting your patients well. So if I'm the type of practitioner where I really want to come in, I want to do my adjustments, I want to see how that's affecting them,
Right.
I have my indicators and I continue working with them, and the patient is responsible in doing their SEP, structured exercise programs, on their own, and you're able to get the best possible result in the shortest possible time. If you have a small office, in our office we have rehab, we have this and all that, so we can take the time to walk the patients through them. But I guess clinically it's good. Communication is great. And I'm just happy with it,
Yeah.
and I'm not shy to talk about things that I'm happy
Yeah,
about.
that's it.
Yeah,
What I
yeah.
found interesting, I'm just listening to you and it's making me think of certain things. You know, again, being in practice for many years and doing sports, is many chiropractors, and I'm going to say unfortunately, don't use a structural exercise program, an activity program, as they should. Many people focus on the adjustment, which is vital, whether it's of an ankle, a knee, or a spine, but they don't go into the home care as much as maybe some would believe they should. And what I found is that by customizing, instead of just having a sheet that people copy and give to them, oh, here's a sheet of exercises. What I found is that if I start off with 2 or 3 or 4 exercises maximum, people will usually adhere to the protocol and they won't feel overburdened. Where if I give them 10 or 15 exercises, they sometimes don't follow through. They don't have time. They're busy at work. So for different populations do different things. Some athletes want to do everything, but certain people who are not, professional athletes, if we start them off, we develop a program through ChiroUp, a short, not a large volume of different exercises, and then we can add another and another, reproduce it, send it to them, mail it to them, email it to them. And I felt, at least in my practice, it's helping people who have not exercised yet get into the routine of exercising without bombarding them with a sheet that's got 20 exercises on it. I don't know if you found that it's helpful in patient management.
Yes. So you can progress, you can modify, so they'll say like, hey, this particular exercise I had some pain with, so then you can modify it. And actually I've gone through, remember I mentioned that you could actually customize it. So I've actually put in some videos of my own, some exercises of my own, and all of that. And I mentioned before, like in the past, I had contracted an app company, and that was a waste of money and a waste of time.
Right.
But I also started a YouTube channel, and we put about 33 videos on there. And basically it was my way of being able to give structured exercise programs to patients for the various conditions that we were seeing in the clinic. So what happened was, if I had this app, that would have saved me all of that time, uploading 33 videos, thinking about.
That's right.
But anyway, so it's a time saver, it's a game changer, and and all of that.
Yeah. No, it is. It's and I not to promote another company or anything. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to provide that toolbox for folks who are learning about it. And we're getting towards the end. I don't know if there's any questions. I'm not sure if I've seen any come through, but we'll take a moment or two to answer any, if anyone. But again, you can get this information on ChiroUp.com. You can go to the Fix website and click on their logo and get some information on that. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Dr. Camara, I'm sure. But any final thoughts though? Just you've been a leader of Fix for so long. As we look at our sponsors, this being one of them, what would you recommend to our membership to say, okay, I don't want to be bombarded with this stuff, but in your case, you found, you said this is great for you. Look how it's modified your practice. Any just thoughts for docs who are like, well, I don't want to be sold things. Any thoughts from Fix perspective and your perspective?
Well, the other, when you're joining an organization, everybody's got to understand that sports chiropractic is intimately linked to the professional standing of the whole chiropractic profession globally. So if you're a sports doc, you'll probably make your reputation from treating sports athletes and icons, but you'll make your living of treating your ordinary person who's not necessarily athletic in a lot of pain, who has to come on a somewhat regular basis, right? So when you support Fix, then you're supporting that image and you're supporting everything, okay? But also, it's nice to get something, what's in it for me? Well, one is you get to meet people who have the experience, and there's all this shared information, the global symposiums, the general assemblies. You know, I've met so many docs in Fix, in events and in meetings that, you know, sometimes it's just a conversation. You're on the side, you're having a coffee, and somebody will say something and it will click, or will recommend something. Or I'm in the General Assembly and I'm watching Christine Foss, the head of the educational chair, in a slide say something, and I'm like, hey, I've got a patient with that condition. I'm gonna try this, and bada bing, bada boom, it works fantastic. so you know, and so when you're doing that, there's stuff that's coming back, and I think, you know, like anything, I don't want to sound too esoteric, but the more you give, the more stuff comes back to you. And I think the people who sponsor and support Fix, I think, deserve also to be supported by the community that we have. And for those, I mean, who are providing real value, I think we should support them even more. And you know, that's why I decided, hey, I'll make time, I'll do this talk, because I really believe in the product.
Yeah, and thank you for doing that. Yeah. Basically, we're almost out of time, but I just wanted to, there's one last thought, that when you look at Fix, now you mentioned Dr. Foss, it's really important for everyone to understand in this time of the pandemic, you know, obviously we're not covering a lot of games, but what we have done is we have amplified our educational program to a very large degree. So those of you who've not taken a look, and it's not just the certification. Of course, we want people to get certified with your ICSC, and there's 10 modules. They've all been updated, almost all, a couple still to go. So it's new content, contemporary content. The master classes are starting again live. We also have the hands-on classes. I mean, we also have master classes. Those of us who've taken the class, they think, okay, that's all I need, I'm certified. Most of us like to continue to learn, and so we've now added, you know, 5 or 6 master classes of new techniques and new different content. So I really just wanted to kind of let people know that Fix is moving very aggressively with trying to be the leader in sports chiropractic education and content. We've got 15 colleges that are now members of Fix. And by the way, anyone who's listening who's a member, we mentioned it, we have a General Assembly next weekend, October 30th, from on the U.S. side, it's at 7 a.m. the New York time. I think for you, it's maybe October 31st. And people are welcome to join it. And just reach out to fix.sport and get a little more information about it. But anyway, please, as members, give us comments, give us feedback. Let us know about the sponsors if they're helpful to you, like Dr. Camara is doing today. So with that, any last thoughts, Dr. Camara, and then we'll kind of let people get back to what they're doing for the day, the rest of the day.
No, I think you wrapped it up really well. I'm just happy to be a member of the community. Thank you for having me, and more power to Fix, to ChiroUp, and to all those wonderful organizations that are helping promote sports chiropractic globally.
And everyone is helping us achieve our vision, which is any athlete should be able to access a sports chiropractor at any event that they go to. And that's what we're working on. That's what we're striving for. And with doctors like you leading the way, Dr. Camara, again, a mentor. I'm learning that you are a mentor of mine, even though I didn't know that 2 years ago. Thank you for your service. And I appreciate it. So with that, if anyone can follow up afterwards and send questions on the Facebook, please feel free to do that. And I want to thank you all. Remember, there's discount codes, ChiroUp.com, mention Fix, go to our website, check out ChiroUp. It's really a pretty cool thing, and it will be really helpful in your practice. And as you can see from Dr. Camara. So thank you guys, appreciate it. And I think we will sign off from Connecticut and from the Philippines. Thank you.